Welcome to Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Simon Holden. Over the course of the next half an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer, we'll be talking Friday night football, soccer slate that features games, of course, in the Premier League. And we've got some top flight football in Belgium for you. It's the present over Christmas you never knew that you wanted. We've also got NFL to talk about. And also, we're going to talk our way through the Sunday EPL slate. Simon, how are you?
I'm great, Dan. Absolutely fantastic. And I don't want to be too sort of emotional at this seasonal time, but I just want to say as we're getting towards the end of the year, to be able to do this show with somebody you consider a friend, somebody you consider to be somebody at the very top of the profession. And I hope you won't mind me taking a minute to thank Steve Wiss for all the times he's done the show with me. So big thanks to Steve. Anyway, wherever you were, Dan, wherever you are.
Yeah, Thank you, Simon. Hopefully, people are enjoying our Boxing Day content from yesterday. Really good response to Nigel and Steve going through all of the card. Look, get your picks in. When it comes to the action tonight, we've got one or two comments in already. From Brian says, hi folks, Ricky says, morning all, hope you had a good Boxing Day betting. Yes, I wasn't too bad for my good sale. Hopefully, Simon, it was good for you. Ian Light says, it's great. Betting Weekly fam. And Dave Clark says, Arsenal first half -1 ? Well, we will get to the Arsenal game shortly. What we are going to run through, first of all, though, is notable Thursday winners and losers. So from yesterday, some really big bets that the Bet Rivers traders took. Some ones landed and one or two that didn't. We had some mad bets on Manchester United over 2.5 goals. Over first half goals as well. $45,000 over half a goal, so 1 goal or more for Manchester United. Obviously did not cash. That was the first half play. Also over 2.5 goals in the game at -151 and over 2.5 at -131 on that Wolves Manchester United game. I think everyone expected goals, Simon. Some hefty bets, 8,000, 6,000. As we mentioned, 45k on that first half goal for United did not come. And obviously from a United point of view, things going from bad to worse, Simon.
Well, has there ever been a more hyped entrance for a manager than this guy? I watched it yesterday. Well, we'll come to the mighty Wolves later on. But do you think Man United are any better at all, Dan, now?
At the minute, definitely not.
I think they've actually got gradually worse, slightly worse, sorry. There doesn't seem to be any cohesion, not that there was particularly under the last guy. But I thought they were terrible. Now, of course, the great thing is Wolves saying everybody's talking about Man United poor. Were Wolves revitalising under the new manager? We'll come to that maybe. But if you're a United fan, if you are sort of saying your prayers, thank God the old guy's gone, new dawn of a new era, I think you're in for a very long second half of the season.
I think you could be right. And Nigel touches it on the Premier League show that we recorded earlier. And it's just a season, really, that I think Ruben Amorim is writing off. Unfortunately, bettors of over 2.5 goals have got to write off the losses. We did have some winners, though, thankfully. $25,000 on a Jadon Sancho over half a shot on target. There's also some good bets on Savio, the Manchester City winger, as well against Everton, even though City didn't pick up the 3 points. So 1 or 2 wagers won, which was good for the Bet Rivers punting public. About an even split, but obviously that 45k was a significant one that the Bet Rivers traders managed to keep. We just touched on United, Simon, but when it comes to the futures and the Premier League, after the Boxing Day games, and obviously games tonight, so there's not been too many market movements. Liverpool, though, are short price favourites at -335, as you can see. Arsenal now 4-1. Do you think, Simon, after that defeat by Fulham, that Chelsea's race is now run? They're plus 1,400, 14-1 shots to win the title. They did go as low as 3-1. Do you think that is them done now? What are your thoughts when it comes to the Premier League futures?
Well, the last time we appeared on the show, what's known as the Scheffler Classic episode, I urged people to get on Chelsea at 12-1. Thought I was incredibly clever when they dropped to 11-4, 3-1. Yeah. One swallow does not make a summer. I think that was just a strange game. I thought Fulham was superb. I think Fulham have been one of the best teams in the Premier League in the last month. So there's no actual shame in that. Now they've returned to the price they were. I actually think that's a little bit too big now. I'd say about a 9-1 shot. Unlikely, but they've got so many goals from so many different players, such an attacking team. I still think compared to Arsenal, they're the value at those prices.
Interesting. 4-1 Arsenal, Chelsea at 14-1. City, incidentally, -155 for top four. That's got to be a little bit of a question mark. I looked at Forest for top six here, Simon. Don't know about this. We've not got the top six prices on, but +135 top six. They've already played Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, and United away from home. Can you see Forest keeping up the gallop? Can you see City dropping out of the top four come the final reckoning?
The Man City performances are getting slightly more embarrassing by the week. And I noticed in your last show that I watched with Nigel saying, get on them to lose in the Champions League. And I can see the logic in that. I mean, I cannot build a case really for them to beat any of the top half of the table. I mean, at times the other day, there was none of the passing you expect. There was none of the urgency. They were spraying it around like it was a end of season friendly. I thought it was appalling. And I'm as shocked as anybody. I said last year that I thought they were in slight decline, but that slight decline could be good enough to still win the league. And of course, they did me, and I lost my money on the big Arsenal bet. But that decline is not slight anymore. It is a rapid over the Niagara Falls decline, isn't it? They look a terrible side.
Yeah, they're shocking at the moment. They really are struggling, and the results bear that out. And obviously, the boys have been fading them week by week. And
what do you do as a bookmaker now, Dan? It presents.
Well, I think you've got to. It does, because I look back at historical prices, and they're sort of meaningless for City, because every week you're thinking this is the biggest price they've been to beat Team A, Team B, Team C, because they've been so dominant, and you've got to try and reassess them. And I think that is difficult for odds compilers, and therefore from a betting point of view. Hopefully we can be the right side of them. Ray says, good evening, Duncan. Afternoon all. Brian likes couldn't you score Wolves result? Oh, couldn't you score result made my day. Yeah, that was against United, of course. Brian says market moves that Chelsea price will look good in a few weeks' time. Very possible, as Simon points out. Now then, this is an interesting one. Steve says, couldn't you discipline 5-game ban? Is that right? Has that just come through after United?
we all know that feeling, Dan, don't we? What United saw.
I don't. Has he got a 5-game ban, Steve? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I mean, it was a ridiculous situation after one of the games. I can't remember where he grabbed someone's glasses. Never grab a man's glasses, Simon.
Well,
as you know.
Especially while he's wearing them. And I mean, what about the old Duran, the most petulant kick of a bucket I've ever seen. And my hero, of course, the Villa manager. Did you see the expressionless face as he walked off, knowing there was going to be a note? See me at 9 a.m. in my office and bring a suitcase, because he was fuming. But yeah, I mean, such petulance.
Steve's been on and said that the FA have just confirmed the ban. That's going to snooker some of our plays for the Premier League show. Paul, great to hear from Paul Laguna as always. Paul, how are you doing? He says, "My friends, what do we think? Who do we think we're going to get sacked next in the Premier League?" I mean, Angie's
probably
around
me
about
or you,
+120.
Steve, Dan.
Probably will be off the back of this performance. Who do you think might be next? I mean, Lopetegui's favourite. I mean, Angie's around about +120 at the minute. What do we think? Who's next to go?
I think Tottenham. I'll come to that later, but.
Okay.
There was a shot of Daniel Levy, the Iceman, to about 10 minutes to go. And I know people are saying it was because the crowd were chanting his name, whatever. But that look tells me that this guy's on borrowed time. And he sacked Tottenham managers for a lot less.
Yes, there's no doubt about that.
I would get stuck in at that price.
Betting Weekly Studios, which is Nigel's pseudonym, says 80-1 for no more managers to be sacked between now and the end of the season, basically. So it's a play that Nigel looks at every single year. Yeah. He did admit to me on the recording of the Premier League show that he's yet to cash it, but he keeps trying. But I'll give it a lad
every 80 years, and he's in profit.
That's exactly what he said on the show. Yeah. Anyway, we digress.
Who was the last one? Like Bert Troutman or something.
Matthews,
Wolves 62.
Well, we'll see.
Playing with their money, Nige.
Yeah, exactly. Well, look, Nigel's playing with house money at the moment. Right, let's see if we can get some picks on some of the games tonight, shall we? Because we've got a couple of Premier League games. These are sort of outliers. They should have been Boxing Day, but obviously UK television sort of stretches them out over the course of 48 hours. First one we're going to look at here, Brighton against Brentford here. Brighton -165, and they have just drifted a little bit here up against Brentford. Not Villa as it suggests there. Brentford 4-1 shots. The draw, the tie +335. I don't know about this one, Simon. Brighton haven't won any of the last 5, but they've only lost a couple at home all season, only one in the Premier League, but it was a big one against arch rivals Crystal Palace. Brentford have lost their last 3 in all competitions. Obviously got that great home record, but not so good away from home. 7 defeats in their last 8. Have you got any sort of angle in for us here, Brighton versus Brentford tonight?
Well, not just because that ghastly producer, Night Owl John, is a Brighton fan, but I kind of agree with Nigel. I think Brighton is so overrated. Now, anybody else but the Bees with Brentford with their terrible away record, I'd be looking to get at Brighton. I really would be. I think the last couple of performances, that early season pace of play seems to have gone completely. They look a bit like Man City did, just very negative and like drained of all confidence. But it is Brentford who are going to have to start doing something about their away form, aren't they? I know they're so good at home. I mean, the thought was that they were going to be a relegation candidate, of course, when Ivan Toney went, but nowhere near. And it's so strong at home that, you know, they're probably going to get away with it and they never win a game away from home. But if ever they're going to turn things around, it's got to be against an out-of-form Brighton team. I just think that draw might be a 1-1 type of dour, poor game. And would both these sides in the form they're in take a draw? I suppose Brighton less than Brentford. But I just think if ever there's a time to go at Brighton, it's now. So I'm going to go draw and a little bit on the old 1-1. So obviously unders on the goals. But this is a game of 2 badly out-of-form teams, isn't it?
So a draw for Simon here. 1 or 2 commenters. Brighton and both teams to score. From Brian, Andrea says Brighton and Brentford both teams to score over 2.5 goals. And Duncan says Brighton on the beach. Quite literally. Thanks for that one.
Oh, yes.
Andres, who's reporting from California. Glad to have you along, Andres. Welcome. Yeah, I wanted to back Brighton on the money line, but I've sort of been put off. The one thing I would say is that Brentford are missing quite a lot of their first choice defenders.
Both got injury worries, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, look, Pennick's out, Van der Berg's out, Christopher Ayer, I think he's out as well. So they're shorn of defenders, which makes me think that they won't play their usual sort of expansive type of game. I tend to think maybe unders might be the play. I might just err on the side of a Brighton win, but Simon, I think your draw might be the safest play in this.
Now, who is the Brighton winger with a good scoring record?
Mitoma. João Pedro.
Yeah. Do you know in the last 2 years, Brentford have conceded more goals to wingers than any other team in the Premier League?
Oh, now, great knowledge.
Does that well? You know, I don't just sit around, as you know. Sometimes I stand up, but so there you go. You've got an attacking winger against a team that obviously more than any other team let the white. Is he an anytime goal scorer or first time goal scorer pick?
Yeah, I think you could be right. Certainly with the defensive worries that Brentford have got, that might be a decent angle in for the game. Duncan says, I hate betting in Brentford games. Never get them right ever. Yeah, difficult certainly away from home. Betting Weekly Studios, just want to clarify your position here, Simon. Left wing or right wing?
Well, I hate using the phrase left wing. So, but I think it's probably, I think either wing. Yeah. Actually, he's right. It's left wing they're vulnerable from more than right, but they're vulnerable from wide areas more than any other team.
Yeah, I'd love to get you and Channers on the same show. I think the debate could be interesting. So what we're going to play? We're going to play the 1-1 draw. Paul's been back on with a score, with a price rather, 7-1 shot plus 700. The draw for 1-1. Get your picks in for that one. That's the game tonight on the South Coast. We have also got a game at the Emirates, of course, which is Arsenal versus Ipswich. In fact, just before we get on to that one, I can tell you that BetRivers have got a special here. Brentford to win either half against Brighton, plus 150. We're sort of siding towards Brighton, but if you're a Brentford bettor, you can head to BetRivers for a special. Brentford to win either half against Brighton is plus 150. Money line, 55% of the money, 79% tickets on Brighton. Over and under, most are playing the overs. 87% of the money, 78% of the tickets on the over. Let's get to Arsenal against Ipswich here. Arsenal minus 770, very short. Ipswich are 18-1 here. Simon, the tie at 8-1. For me, Arsenal look back at it. They've won the last 2. of course, against Crystal Palace in the League Cup and in the league. They've been brilliant at home. 10 wins from 13 in all competitions. They're unbeaten at the Emirates. They've got clean sheets in 4 of the last 5, including in their last 3. If you fancy Arsenal just to keep a clean sheet, it's minus 137. It is pretty short, but rather do that than play Arsenal to win to 0, because the odds, would you believe it, are slightly worse. It's one of those curiosities when it comes to those same game parlays.
Normally.
Yeah, no Bukayo Saka, of course, for Arsenal. He's out with a hamstring injury, but Ipswich, we know, Nigel, that Simon, that they've won 2. They've won 2 games. They've won 2 games this season in the Premier League, both away from home. One against Ipswich, one against Wolves. But I don't think they're going to get anything from their trip to North London tonight. Do you? What's the play for you, Simon?
Well, I'm not one of these guests who comes on now and again and starts harking back to previous big wins, Dan. I find that a bit pointless, really. But of course, I did give Arsenal a 6-0 away at Sheffield.
Well, you're going to anyway. Yeah,
I'm going to do anyway. But so I was looking at you. If they score early, this could be another massacre, couldn't it? Even 200 to 1, 8-0 is not the silliest bet you'll ever do for the old pizza shop money rather than pizza, because you can buy the whole shop if this one cops. But you see, I've got a slight theory on this. I think that this game is something of an irrelevance. Sorry, Ipswich fans. I think the key game, if Arsenal are going to mount any challenge, is away at Brentford. So I think the Arsenal will be, if it gets to sort of 3-4 and the game's done, I've got a funny feeling, rather than keep at it, that they will, knock it around. And so I've kind of laid back from that. I see, this is it. You've got to play certain angles, like you've said, to win to 0, maybe 3-0, 4-0, and the overs. But I just think, for my initial thoughts were, this could be a real, Christmas night festival of attacking football. He'll just have one eye on the weekend. It's such a busy time of the year. So I'm kind of not going as big as I was, but I mean, we're going to see a very comfortable win. And Ipswich's key games are not, this is not one, is it? They're going to have to fight and scrap with the bottom 6. So an Arsenal comfortable win, but will it be on the hour mark that they just, knock it around a bit?
I know exactly what you're saying here. Get comfortable, 2 or 3 up, take the foot off the gas, rest 1 or 2 players, rotate a little bit.
Yeah.
Duncan says Arsenal under 4.5. I can see that cashing, certainly. Steve was talking about Ange Postecoglou, saying he's the Aussie Keegan. I can see where that comes from as well. Ming Chung, always good to hear from Ming. Brighton will beat Brentford. The Bees are so bad away from home. That is true. They've lost.
Brighton, no wins in 5 must temper the confidence slightly, mate.
Yeah, no, Danny Welbeck as well. I mean, that's, there's 1 or 2 players missing, but I think defensively, I'm starting to swing back towards maybe back in Brighton on the money line. Ebenezer Scrooge has been. I says, happy holidays, Simon.
I mean, and Dan as well.
Come on, Ebenezer.
Well, he's Scrooge, isn't he? He only gets 1 in.
Mike says Newcastle will destroy Man United on Monday. Great show, a great price. He's suggesting, Mike. Well, that's going to be interesting, because the boys have got some strong opinions on the Premier League show, which will be out a little bit later tonight. Mike, how special. We've got a couple when it comes to the Arsenal game. Arsenal to score 2 goals in each half against Ipswich is plus 325, which is a sizable price. But as Simon was saying, if teams start to take the foot off the gas, can they get 2 in the second half? Yeah, a little bit. What has Nigel's been back on with? Ipswich to finish bottom. Next Premier League fixtures: Arsenal away, Chelsea at home, Fulham away, Brighton at home, City at home, Liverpool away, and then Southampton at home. So they could be
in big bother by the time.
I mean, Southampton are the problem there, because Saints, are pretty poor themselves, aren't they? In terms of where the money has gone here for this one, Simon, most of the money, 94 Santa Claus. Don't listen to
they're all Santa, out here.
Santa and Scrooge on the same show. Fantastic.
I know.
94% of the money has come for Arsenal, and 93% of the tickets, and most of the money on overs as well. I mean, over 2.5 goals is pretty short. And Ipswich, as we know, they have really struggled this season. Sam Morsey is out suspended as well, so that's a bit of a blow for them. So what are we saying then for the 2 Premier League games tonight? What are the 2 picks, Simon? Just remind us. We have got a typo on our graphic there. It should not be Villa, it should be Brighton. Blame Niall John for that.
I'd take that price, Villa. It's I've gone plus 3. Is that a special? Plus 335, and we'll go 1-1. I've got the 1-1 price.
Yeah, 1-1, 7-1.
7-1, yeah.
And Arsenal Ipswich.
Well, I think you've got to look at that under. Was it under 4.5? That Arsenal to win both halves, those sort of things. I quite like Havertz first scorer. I thought that was reasonable. Was that plus 500?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I just think I think this is a strange game. When you've got a compression of fixtures like this now, you've got to think as a bettor, you've got to think slightly out of the box than you normally would. You know, if this was before an international break, I would be getting in the 6, 7, 8-0s and round off the before a break and give the fans a good night. But I just think in Arsenal's interest is not to be getting people injured late in this game. So by that, I just urge a little bit of caution and just lower your enthusiasm for the extent of the Arsenal victory tonight.
Okay. Duncan says it's only teams like Ipswich and Southampton that's going to stop United from being relegated this season. It's such a poor league. And Andres back on with a college football play, which is interesting. So you want to bet some American football, Oklahoma under 21.5 first half. Also Oklahoma money line first half minus 115. I've got the latest splits when it comes to the NFL games, Andres. So if you've got anything for the Saturday slate for NFL, let the Betting Weekly community know. Put it in the comments, and I'll rattle through where the money's going for the NFL action shortly. Winston Churchill, I tell you, this is a show of stars.
Is this the History Channel or veterans?
Winston's been on. He says Brentford tie or win plus 30.
Yeah, he'll have the cigar out if that cops.
Yeah, he will be. Paul says the 2-2 is a 10-1 shot in the Brentford game. Now, this is the section that everybody knew that they wanted. The Belgian league, Simon, I have to tell you, the Belgian league, it's one of the few leagues that also play on Boxing Day. And let's face it, we try and keep things relevant on this show. So we like to have things to bet on the day. We don't like to go too far into the future because this show...
Boxing Day was yesterday, Dan.
Yes, I know. But it's Boxing Day.
How long were you asleep? Yeah.
These are the Jupiler Pro League, La Belgique, and I'm going to be asking Simon about these extensively. Now, then, I've given my You're
better off asking Churchill.
I've given my contact in Belgium a call, and Jean-Claude has come back to me and said this is what he likes about. Now, take notice, everybody. First up, this is Leuven against Beerschot. Leuven are minus 162 for this. They're only 12th of 16 in the top flight here, but they have got the joint best home defensive record, and their expected goal against figure at home is just 9. That's the third best in the league. So we're going to play under 2.5 goals here, which is plus 102. Beerschot are bottom. They've conceded 24 in 9 away games. However, their expected goals against suggest that they've been a little unlucky. So under 2.5 goals at minus 102 for Leuven against Beerschot. When it comes to Sint-Truiden against Cercle Brugge, Sint-Truiden are the plus 130 favourites. Simon, are you keeping up? Cercle Brugge are plus 215. They met in the cup not so long ago, and Cercle Brugge were the even money favourites. They were beaten, but they rotated heavily because they were involved in the Europa Conference League, of which they have qualified for the last 16 by finishing the top 8 of the Europa Conference League. So they had a fairly heavy workload here. So Cercle Brugge on the Tino bet, we're going to play here at plus 120. That's the second play for the Jupiler Pro League coming away tonight. Those games, 12:30 and 2:45 Eastern. And finally, Anderlecht against Dender. Anderlecht, famous Belgian name. They're minus 210. They're short price favourites to beat Dender here, who are 6-1. They're third at the moment, Anderlecht, but they're 9 points behind leaders Genk and 8 behind second place Club Brugge. And the player that we've picked out for a anytime goal scorer bet, and maybe a special as well, is Kasper Dolberg. He's got 18 goals in all competitions, 12 in the league. He's got 11 in his last 10. He's on penalties. He's plus 143 for anytime goal scorer. That's Dolberg in the Anderlecht Dender game. And he's plus 750 to score 2 or more tonight or this afternoon, Eastern time, 2:45. He's done that 4 times in 18 appearances this season. So those are the 3 Belgian plays. We're going to go for under 2.5 goals, Leuven Beerschot. Sint-Truiden against Cercle Brugge. We're going for Cercle Brugge on the Tino bet market at plus 120. And Dolberg plus 145 anytime goal scorer. Anderlecht against Dender. Simon, any thoughts on the Belgian action tonight?
This Nigel thing's getting good. Isn't
I
it? You
know, I
obviously
keep doing
treat us
it.
with the same reverence.
I keep doing it. What's your,
I shall
have you
raise
ever been
a stellar.
Have you ever been to Belgium?
I have actually. I travelled to Belgium extensively. I went on a cultural exchange as a schoolboy.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've been back many, many times. Yeah. Bruges, love the place. Ostend, one of my favourite places. So actually, it caught you
very
out there, Dan.
very popular TV show named after Ostend.
Yes. Cornish Street.
Ostenders.
Yeah. Ostend's a fabulous seaside town. Just a little, as it's a holiday program. If ever you are in Belgium, highly recommended. Wonderful train service as well in Belgium, Dan. You're going to wish you'd never asked me now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This was the Belgium section that will never return. 3 serious bets for you tonight, though. That's on the Belgian top flight. NFL action over the course of the weekend. We were asking Andres if he's got a play. Shakespeare, hopefully you're with us over the holiday season, and you can give us a play on this one as well. These are the games on Saturday. We've got the Chargers at the Patriots, Broncos at the Bengals, Cardinals at the Rams. We've got the latest from our colleagues at Bet Rivers here, where the money's been going for all of these games. When it comes to the Chargers against the Patriots, most of the money on the Chargers, both on the spread and the money line, and again on the over, 68% of the money. We've got some notable wagers here as well. On the Patriots, $3,300 play +5 against the Chargers on the spread, and a $2,000 play on either team to score a defensive touchdown, which is -357. That's Chargers at Patriots. Broncos at the Bengals. Most of the money on the money line for the Bengals, likewise to cover the spread. And again, on the overs, 89% of the tickets. We've had a 4-figure play on the Bengals -2 at -151. Obviously, you can change the handicap line on the slider on the Bet Rivers website. And finally, Cardinals at the Rams here. 80% of the money, 74% of the tickets on the Rams. Similar sort of figures on the money line. Interestingly, 79% of the money has come on the under, 60% of the tickets on the over. What that means is the big money's come for under, and most of the small plays have come for the over. And notable wagers for you in the Cardinals-Rams clash. The under 50.5 total points has been bet $11,000 on one particular play there, and also a $3,000 play on the Rams on the money line against the Cardinals. So that is the latest NFL. Now, someone's taking me to task here on the Belgian football, which I wondered about. What have we got here? This is from Oscar. He says, wouldn't touch Cercle Brugge against Sint-Truiden. Cercle lost there a striker and are having a new coach. Sint-Truiden play at home on artificial grass, which won't be easy to play on. Do you know who the new coach is, Simon?
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you.
He's a former Welsh manager, and he also managed in the Premier League.
Oh,
former Blackburn player.
Yeah.
Chris Coleman.
Yeah.
Played 3, won 1, drawn 1, lost 1, and all of the games that he's overseen, Leuven, should I say, not Cercle Brugge, Leuven, have been unders. Anyway, we digress. Shakespeare's been on.
Chris.
Yeah. Shakespeare says, no picking those games. Sometimes the best bet is a no bet.
Oh, well said, Shakespeare. Well said.
I mean, that's,
Is that from Hamlet, sometimes the best bet is the no bet?
It's either that or Guys and Dolls. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Paul says, agreed with Shakespeare, but keep in mind that some of these teams need the win to get into the playoffs. That is true when it comes to the NFL. What else have we got here? We're going to talk you through the Premier League Saturday slate because we'll get some more thoughts from Simon on the games here. So if you fancy anything, let us know. There's an array of stars coming on the show. Anthony Hopkins. Is he a close personal friend of yours?
Yeah. Well, I'm not one of these, never be a name dropper, Dan. I've told you that before. Some of the best advice I ever got was never drop names.
Who told you that?
Mick Jagger.
These are the Saturday the Sunday EPL games. Now then, let's get some quick fire thoughts from your good self on this one, Simon. I recorded the Premier League show with Nigel and Jack earlier today, so I know what they've gone for. I won't reveal the prices, the thoughts of the boys, because the show comes out a little bit later. But it's nice to get your thoughts on this one. Are City going to slip up at Leicester? Thoughts on Leicester against City? City short price favourites. Leicester 7-1.
7-1's too big. Should be 5. So yes, Leicester's a bet.
Okay. Everton against Nottingham Forest, your beloved Everton. They are favourites against Forest, who are third in the table, Simon.
This is the biggest rick in the history of bookmaking. There is no way the tie should be the largest of the 3 outcomes. Okay. Plus 210. Get on now.
Plus 210. Spurs against Wolves. We're in agreement here, aren't we? We think Spurs are short price favourites.
The whole roster. Wolves, that ghastly word momentum, Dan, that we all think is overused. Wolves looked at the end, the swagger as they walked off. Contrast that with the Tottenham rabble. I just think plus 360 is massive.
But obviously no Cunha, as Steve pointed out.
He's got 5 games, I believe.
He has got 5-game ban, which I presume kicks in for this
one.
They've
got other talent.
That's a slight concern, though. Fulham against Bournemouth. Fulham plus 138. Bournemouth plus 188. Fulham favourites after that great win against Chelsea. Simon, what do you like?
Fulham in the form they are in, I think plus money is big. So plus 138. I'll have some of that.
Hang on. Steve just been back on saying that Cunha is going to play. That's the word. Duncan says Wolves are a great bet. So maybe
double the bet on Wolves immediately.
Yeah. Mario says also half on West Ham, half on the draw. Who are West Ham playing? We'll get to West Ham in a second. Yeah. That's Mario. What's next? Fulham.
Super,
what did you say? Fulham for this one, Simon?
Oh, sensational. Plus money on Fulham in the form they're in. I think it's fantastic.
Okay. And Betting Weekly know these things. Nigel knows these things. He says it's not true about Cunha. It's just a joke that some websites have fallen for, but not us, Simon. We didn't fall for it. We didn't fall for it at all.
No. And Donald Trump came on and told us it was rubbish as well.
Yeah, Palace against Southampton. Palace minus 180. Saints plus 480. Thought they were a little bit better in their last game, Southampton, but they're outsiders for this one on Sunday. Simon, what do you think?
There will be far better minus 180 shots than Palace to beat Southampton. If that's your thing, good luck, but it wouldn't be mine.
And West Ham against Liverpool on Sunday. Hammers plus 650. Mario says half and half here on the West Ham win and also the draw plus 650 plus 425. So the draw double chance there, or West Ham double chance. Liverpool are short. The title favourites. Simon, what do we think for this one at the London Stadium?
I'm afraid, you know my beloved Everton. It pains me. I'm in physical pain to say this, but Liverpool at minus 275. Oh, please don't let me say it. It's a bet.
Is it really? And you don't go odds on that often, do you? You don't turn that often.
Well, yeah, my time of life. Yeah.
So Liverpool.
It's a bet. It has to be a bet. I'm sorry. I don't want it to be. I don't hope I'm wrong, so I'm going to have a few quid on. But my love of money is stronger than my dislike of Liverpool Football Club. So,
I mean, look,
it's got to be done.
Look, money isn't everything, but it's right up there with oxygen. That's what I've found over the years.
Exactly.
Beware of the points, Paul. Watch out, says Shakespeare. And Mike says, is this the game that Postecoglou is going to be sacked? I think he's going to survive. I think they're just going to. Yeah, I think so.
That's
I think
not the way he operates.
Listen, who are they going to get? Because Tim Sherwood, I don't think he's available anymore. So
is Chris Coleman out of work at the moment? Do you know?
No, he's at Leuven or Cercle.
Oh well, there's my first one.
Gurney says better 4-11 Liverpool. They're better 4-11 shots than Liverpool away from home at West Ham. Yeah, Gurney's pretty shrewd. He knows the deal.
Yeah.
Right. That is the betting for today. Have a look at those Belgium selections. It took me hours to do those. Simon, we need some best bets from you before we wrap things up. What's your best play on tonight's football? First of all, tonight's soccer.
The draw in the Brighton Brentford game.
Kearney says I'm not really shrewd. Okay, and what about this weekend? The Sunday slate in the
Wolves,
Premier League.
The mighty Wolves. And now we know that silly prank is just that. I'm even more confident.
More confident. Cunha's going to play. It is a prank. He is not suspended for the game away at Spurs. That's going to be one of our best picks of the weekend.
So one question, Dan. If Wolves were to do a number, say 2-0, are you really telling me that he's not under huge pressure?
Well, I think he's been under pressure anyway. I think if they were going to get rid, they were going to get rid by now. I'm tending to think that Nigel's 80-1 about no further coach being sacked this season. You know, West Ham are going to stick with Lopetegui. Who else is under pressure? You know, I think that's
okay. Let's all get the 80s then.
We can find 80s somewhere. Steve says Bissouma at centre back is pure Barkley, so Bissouma's going to play it. So I mean, this is it. I mean, Spurs are in a mess defensively. Van der Ven's out, Romero's out, and it's mix and match all over the place. I think Wolves is probably going to be the best play for a lot of people when it comes to this action. Indeed. Righty, Simon, many thanks for your company.
My pleasure,
that is a wrap for Betting Weekly Live. I'm not quite sure when they're going to have us back, but hopefully we've picked some winners over the
80-1 shot will have landed before we get back on.
Tonight or on Sunday. Great stuff. The live show with Steve and maybe some handicappers are a little bit more educated than our good selves. It's going to be back on Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Good luck tonight from myself and from Simon. It is goodbye. We'll see you soon.